That was my own recording.
The whole household's in a state of concussion. The cook is shell-shocked.
She-devil, why did you wear this intoxicating perfume?
I'll stop it. You spoil my makeup.
Jezebel, where are you going with your painted face and your scented body?
Oh, come on. Just zip up my dress.
Zip your dress? On the contrary.
Victor, Dali, it's me, Maxwell Archer Incorporated.
Come on in, Max.
Children, is this a time for tutti frutti?
Well, I'm ready. Just help me with my dress, will you? This degenerate can't be trusted with a zipper.
Hurry, Dali. We have all the trustees of the orchestra waiting.
Yes, a nice cozy evening with the trustees doing your dirty work. Good night, my darling. Now you eat your dinner.
What time are you auditioning the girl for the young people's concert?
Oh, the grimy little beast ought to be here now.
Will you be kind to her? Remember, you were a child prodigy once.
Miss Hooper, sir. Miss Angela Hooper. Ah, the grimy little beast. Show her in. This way, miss.
Oh, Dr. Fabian.
Who are you? I mean, where is your daughter, or was it your sister?
But I don't understand. I'm Angela Hooper. I'm supposed to audition.
You? Oh, no, that was a child prodigy. 12 years old. Yeah, I have it all written out on the card. Angela Hooper, age 12.
But I'm 21. Oh, don't you see? It got itself reversed on the card. 1, 2 instead of 2, 1. It's only a typing error.
That makes quite a difference, doesn't it?
You're not gonna send me away, are you? Oh, please.
Well,
You waltz divinely.
Good night, sweet Mrs. Fabian. Tell your husband he can have his extra rehearsals. Just leave it to me.
Ah, Mr. Aspinall. Now, you do remember, in the conservatory, in the moonlight, you promised.
Absolutely. A new stage next season, and hang the expense.
Ah, darling Sir Austin. Now, you will arrange matters about the soloist that Victor wants, won't you?
Anything your heart desires. Cha, cha, cha.
Good night. Good night, my dear boys.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Oh, really, Victor shouldn't be working the child this late.
Say, for 12 years old, she isn't bad. You know, I think Victor might have latched onto something. Good night, Daddy.
Max, I'm innocent.
That's right. Go and explain. Ask her to forgive you. has he been rehearsing?
About an hour.
How far has he gotten? The first 4 notes. Oi. Some festival. 4 notes. What a magnificent interpretation. How he brings out the inner meaning of the symphony.
Good morning, Chester. Any mail forwarded to me?
Yes, I'll be here.
Nothing else?
No, sir.
Good morning. Beethoven Symphony, first movement. From letter A, please. Not bad. Not bad at all. Perhaps a shade unresponsive, a trifle sluggish, but not bad. On the whole, for Liverpool, quite encouraging.
Well, has he started?
About half an hour ago. Shh.
Around the world in 4 notes. He uses symphony orchestras the way I use Kleenex. That man is eating his heart out. Not only that, for dessert, he's having mine.
What happened in London, Mr. Archer? They don't want him?
Chester, my boy, you should only have as much money as the London Festival Orchestra doesn't want Victor Fabian. If he was with his wife, maybe.
Chester, after the break, we'll tackle Scheherazade and tell the man I want them to tackle hard. We're not just playing Rimsky-Korsakov. We're out to beat him.
Couldn't you compromise just a little bit?
Max, I wish I could compromise. It would be easier all around. I drive the orchestra as I drive myself because there's only one kind of music I know, the best. I can't give less and I can't accept less.
Of course, I honor you for your standards. Sit down, Victor, sit down.
I am sitting down.
Well, the only thing is, we're running out of orchestras.
London is out?
Out. I am sorry, Victor. Their decision wasn't artistic or musical, simply in the interest of mental health.
Because I had a few minor petty disagreements with the orchestra trustees. Ridiculous.
It's different now. You don't have Dali with you anymore.
I know. Indispensable Dali, saintly, noble, the Dr. Schweitzer of the harp.
If you could only see the trustees when they ask about Dali. Even now, this minute, if I could call London and tell them that you and Dali were together.
I'm surprised at you, Max. After the way she treated us, have you no pride?
Pride? An agent with pride? Just think of poor Dali. A girl like that, completely cut off from civilization. Teaching in a little college somewhere. At night, creeping home to the little cell in the ladies' dormitory. Poor Dali.
You're right, Max. I have been selfish. Whatever she's done, whatever her shortcomings, I will not turn my back on her in this hour of need.
You're a saint, Victor.
Get on the phone, Max. Call the orchestra trustees in London. Tell them Dali and I are reconciled. I am taking her back.
Wait a minute, Victor. What about Dali? Will she take you back?
We will make a fresh start together, hand in hand, a second honeymoon. We are having a baby.
Victor, slow down. Before you have a baby, you must at least talk to Dali. It takes 2 even to start a reconciliation.
Dali is a harpist and I'm a conductor. She will not defy this natural law.
She might.
Orchestra's ready for you, Dr. Fabian.
I'm coming, Chester. The telephone, Max. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us forget this morning's little difficulties. If my criticism seemed a little harsh, it was only in an effort to achieve the quality of performance which I know you can give. So now, on the magic carpet of our music, let us leave these fog-bound, chilly shores for the mysterious Orient. Scheherazade, my friends, from the beginning, please.
Bardini, my old friend, mon cher collègue, I swear to you, Dali Fabian is here. She and Fabian are reconciled.
Max, why didn't you tell me any of this before?
May I manage a Wagnerian opera company, and may I have to feed them all at my own expense if I'm not telling you the truth. You should see them, hand in hand, like too happy, children. You must excuse me, it's my handkerchief. It's all right, I can talk now.
Well?
All right, it's done.
Good work, Max.
Victor, I told terrible lies even by our standard. I swore to Bardini that you and Dali were reconciled.
Don't worry, Max. The third movement, letter E. We're a swaying, sinuous line of temple dancers. Tiny silver bells jangling on our painted little feet. Don't pant, Max. You're too tense.
Tense? Nonsense. Look how slowly I'm twitching.
I'll finish the rehearsal. We'll zoom up to Brantley College and bring Dolly back to London in triumph. Bring the car around to the stage door and keep the engine running. Excellent, my dear colleagues. Now to conclude. Once more from bar 12, please. Now, once more, from the last woodwind chord, please.
Excuse me, Dr. Fabian. I'll tune again. I'm sorry.
Allow me, my dear Kendall. I have played myself and have a rather good ear. I have perfect pitch, while yours, if you'll allow me to say so, is decidedly imperfect. Several times today you've been playing brand new, previously unknown keys such as P minor and M flat. But I didn't want to presume on our brief acquaintance to point it out to you. Ah, that's better. Perfectly tuned at last. You tone deaf organ grinder? Dolly! There she is! Carry her home!
Oh, what on earth? Let me go! Victor, not here!
Where?
Shall I open the champagne here?
No, please!
Oh, my darling, I've come to take you away from all this.
Oh, come on, let's go to my flat.
Good old Dolly, she hasn't changed a bit.
Oh, Victor! Oh!
Dolly, wait! Wait for me! Wait!
Now, Victor, please, I rent this flat from Lady Bloxham. She's an elderly lady, so any disturbance...
Just a small celebration, darling. Now, ask Lady Bloxham to come up. Max can dance with her. Just plug in the machine over there.
No, absolutely not. Max, I forbid you to.
But, sweetheart, I brought all my own recording.
Oh.
Oh.
Just stay away from me, Victor. Oh! Max, turn this machine on. Oh.
Oh, Dolly, darling.
You just keep your distance.
Children, enough. Go on, kiss and make up.
I'm ready.
Well, I don't mind shaking hands, but I warn you, Victor, if you start that Romeo and Juliet overture again, I'll scream!
But you wrote me you wanted to see me.
About a divorce. I was going to tell you, but I didn't want to do it in a letter.
You're right, Dolly. Be hard to get. I deserve it. Oh, come on, hold still, you little fool. Accept your fate with humble pride. I, Victor Fabian, take thee, Dolly.
David Johann Sebastian Bach. You're mad, Victor. Finally and utterly mad. I'm suing for a divorce, and if you dare raise the slightest objection, I'll have you committed to an institution!
Oh, my poor darling. Loneliness must have done it to you. She doesn't know what she's saying.
I do know what I'm saying. We are finished, Victor!
Finished? We haven't even started on our second honeymoon.
Well, you can start without me. Now get out, both of you.
Dolly, come out from behind that zither. I demand my rights as your husband. Oh, God!
Well, Victor, at least you've tried. But don't worry. I've got a good engagement all lined up for you with the Fargo Philharmonic of Fargo, North Dakota.
Don't talk nonsense, Max. I have to get the house open and staff put on because we'll have to entertain quite a bit. Stop that babbling, Fargo, North Dakota. We've got London.
Victor, what's the matter with you? Without Dali, we've got nothing in London. And Dali, we haven't got 100%. I have heard her with my own eyes.
Max, Dolly will be with me, by my side, in my own house. It's true, Dolly is coming back where she belongs. Trust me. Here, have a cigar.
Stand up straight, boy. Pull that stomach in. And eyes front.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilbur.
Good morning, Mrs. Wilbur. Mr. Wilbur?
Let us not stand around here gossiping, Mr. Bardini. What about Dr. Fabian?
Oh, he arrived this morning. He's having his first rehearsal this afternoon.
And Mrs. Fabian?
Well, she was not exactly with him, but she is expected. Yes, definitely expected.
Alonso.
Yes, Mother?
It is now 1100 minus 5. What time is the rehearsal?
2 o'clock, 1400 hours.
Alonso, at 13:30, you will rendezvous with Dr. Fabian, and you will meet Mrs. Fabian personally.
Roger, Mother.
I go myself, but I don't want to miss the changing of the guard. The household cavalry band has a new trombone player.
What if I don't meet Mrs. Fabian personally, Mother?
Well, then you will dismiss the orchestra. No rehearsal, no concert. Is that clear?
Mrs. Wilbur, maybe you should allow a little more time.
You have your orders.
Roger.
Carry on.
Anything from Dolly?
Not a thing.
Get on the phone to that lousy college again.
Home. My own home. After the long, barren years of exile.
Victor, there is not a word from Dolly. Victor, we made commitments, promises. Dolly must be here.
Max, on the stage at Covent Garden, I want a raised hollow platform at stage left for the string bass section. What a resonance we'll get.
Victor, did you understand me? Dolly isn't here. She hasn't phone, not a telegram, not even a get well card.
Only the wanderer can truly savor the thrill of homecoming. Get on the phone to the Santa Cecilia in Rome. I want to engage the entire chorus for a special performance of the B minor Mass.
Victor, this is crazy talk. Unless Dolly gets here, you cannot even do a special performance of Jingle Bells. Chester, do something. Jiggle the hook at least.
Max, what time is it now in New York?
What do you want there? The street cleaners band? Victor, we're in big trouble even by our standards.
Just being in this house, in this room, I'm starting to feel that rare something, like an electric current flowing through me. Don't you feel that, Max?
Not yet. Maybe after they shave my head and slit my trousers.
And now, much as I enjoy your company, before my rehearsal, I'd like a few moments of contemplation. Serene, perfect peace before I turn to my music.
Well, Chester?
They don't know where she is or where she can be reached.
Oh, Chester. I was so happy when I managed only wild animals and acrobats.
Chester, quick, the flowers.
Never mind. Bardini! Amico mio, come va? Bene? Come in, my dear colleague. I saw you at the station and I tried to catch your eye, but it was such hustle and bustle and...
You ran like a thief. You and the maestro both.
May my entire Russian ballet company break down from hoof and mouth disease if I'm not telling you the truth.
Well, where is she?
She? Oh, you mean Dolly? Funny. We were just talking about her, Chester and I, when you...
Max, you lied to me.
May I be shipwrecked on a desert island with a whole boatload of Italian opera singers if I lied to you. Dolly Fabian will be here positively at the latest tomorrow.
That's too bad, Max. Because you and the maestro both will be out of here by then.
Luigi, don't say things like that. If you only knew the enthusiasm Victor has for this engagement. The concerts he's planning, like Salzburg or Edinburgh, only more commercial. And my personal word of honor, the engagement of his entire career.
She's asleep. Maestro, for Lord's sake.
Bardini, it's good to see you again.
Victor, he knows.
He knows. But of course Luigi knows my little jokes. An occasion like this calls for a little cup of kindness. Eh, Bardini? A toast to art and life and beauty.
Maestro, any minute the new chairman of the orchestra trustees will be here.
New chairman? Well, I'll drink to that. He can't be as bad as the old chairman, that horror, Mr. Wilbur.
Maestro, this is Mr. Wilbur Jr.
Mr. Wilbur Jr.? Well, you know, Bardini, young people always take to me.
Maestro, Mr. Wilbur Jr. is maybe 66 years of age.
Oh.
And he is coming here for only one reason. To meet Mrs. Fabian.
She will be here. May I forget to meet Yasha Heifetz and keep him waiting at the airport for 2 hours if I'm not telling you the truth. Dali will be here.
When?
When? She is a woman with all the enchanting unpredictability of her sex. But what does it matter? I'm here. Bardini, I yield to no man in admiration for my wife. But it is I who conceive and conduct these concerts. I will make this plain to Mr. Wilbur when he comes, forcibly.
Maestro, for Lord's sake. Mr. Wilbur is not only the chairman of the trustees of the orchestra. The canned goods company he and his mother own make up the entire deficit every year. So, if they get a fixation about having Mrs. Fabian here, then my job is to get her. If they wanted Madame Curie or Grandma Moses or Whistler's mother, I would tip my hat and do it.
Bootlicker.
Maestro, in that mood, we are all going to be unemployed before nightfall.
Now listen to me. I am Victor Fabian, conductor by trade. I've studied music since I was 4 years old. Until then, I only listened, but critically. I play piano and organ, and for a better understanding of my work, I've studied every instrument in the orchestra, yes, even the timpani. I know harmony, theory, solfege, counterpoint, composition, and orchestration. All of this is fused in me, ready to explode. It will erupt in the finest series of concerts this city has ever heard. Let Alonzo P. Wilbur Jr. stand in the path of this mighty blast if he dares.
Maestro, what a Japanese suicide pilot you would have made.
I am the captain of my soul.
I am the boy on the burning deck.
Mr. Wilbur, sir.
Mr. Wilbur, how nice to see you.
I have only 3 words to say to you. Fargo, North Dakota.
Come right in. Dr. Fabian is in here.
Mr. Wilbur, I'm delighted to see you. Bardini, quickly a chair for Mr. Wilbur.
This is Maxwell Archer, Mr. Wilbur. And this is Dr. Victor Fabian.
I'm very happy to meet you, Mr. Wilbur. I knew your father.
So did I.
Yes, of course. And your dear mother. I wonder, does she remember me?
Oh, yes. Mother talks about you all the time. She says you've shortened Dad's life. But for Mrs. Fabian's sake, Mother is willing to let bygones be bygones. That's Mother.
A saint.
Mother said I was to meet Mrs. Fabian personally.
You will. She only stepped out.
To buy Mother a present.
Splendid. Then I'll wait.
Yes, by all means, Mr. Wilbur. Take this chair. It is one of the set that was built for Marie Antoinette. She was sitting in this chair when the mob stormed the Bastille.
Oh, Schubert's Unfinished Symphony. You like that?
Schubert's Unfinished, of course.
Well, that's what makes horse racing.
You do not care for Schubert?
No.
Absolutely. Mr. Wilbur is right. Who needs a composer who doesn't finish up his symphony? Victor, put on a phonograph something by Beethoven.
Beethoven? Oh, no.
Not Beethoven either. Bach. Victor, Bardini, now just look how up-to-date Mr. Wilbur is. He doesn't care for the old composers who have been dead for centuries. Let me shake you by the hand, Mr. Wilbur. Victor and I, we love modern music.
Please, I hate modern music.
Well, in between there is Brahms, Schumann. Yes, Schumann, a genius. Ram, pam, tal-ram, pam, tal-ram, pam.
Now, is it possible, Mr. Wilbur, that you just don't care for music, any music? Mr. Wilbur, you're the chairman of the board of trustees of a great symphony orchestra.
It came with the canned goods business.
Oh, it came with the canned goods business. The orchestra, my orchestra, came with the canned goods business. Now, which branch of the canned goods business, Mr. Wilbur? Succotash, hearts of artichoke, or was it perhaps chow chow pickle? In the whole wide, wonderful world, there's but one symphony orchestra, which is an annex to a canned goods factory in the Furies. My personal Furies have given it to me. Listen, Mr. Wilbur. Do you hear that? The rustle of black, bat-like wings?
I don't hear anything.
You will. You will.
And you think I shortened Dad's life?
Maestro, wait!
Is it because of something I said?
Now cracks a noble heart. The rest is silence. Farewell. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit, from pole to pole. Excuse me, madam. Darling. Darling.
You see, Mr. Wilbur, here is Mrs. Fabian.
You said she just stepped out for a minute.
Well, that's how they are, even in a tiny separation. Hey, Bardini? Dali, look who is here, Mr. Wilbur. Mr. Wilbur Jr. Mr. Wilbur Jr. is the son of Mr. Wilbur Sr., and he is also chairman of the board of the orchestra trustees. Dali, please, say hello to Mr. Wilbur. Mrs. Fabian says hello. We should leave them alone, don't you think, Mr. Wilbur? Dali, say goodbye to Mr. Wilbur. Bardini, get Mr. Wilbur to his car. You have a car, Mr. Wilbur, of course. If you don't, take mine. Bentley Continental with plates MA1. Goodbye, Mr. Wilbur. It was indeed a pleasure. And be sure to tell Mother, Mrs. Fabian sends her love.
Yes, I'll tell Mother you're here, Mrs. Fabian. She'll be very pleased. You're just the way Mother remembers you, Mrs. Fabian. You too, Doctor.
Wait. Don't move. I want to hold this memory of you in this light against the flowers in my portrait.
Victor, what is all this about Mr. Wilbur's mother?
Your hair is a bright incandescent halo.
Victor, why should Mr. Wilbur's mother be pleased because I'm here?
But of course Mr. Wilbur's mother is pleased. The whole world is pleased. And above all, my dearest Dolly, I am pleased.
Victor! Put me down! Now, from the top, slowly and clearly. Max?
Well, you see, Dali, at first there was some resistance on the part of the trustees. And then, well, some lunatic, gave Mr. Wilbur's mother the idea that you and Victor would be together.
Aha!
You get the picture, don't you, Dolly?
And the frame. Oh, Victor, how could you?
But it was easy. Just a few innocent little white lies. And now they've all come true. Just as the gypsy fortune teller promised.
You'd better have another long look at your tea leaves, Maestro. Your future is cloudy and uncertain. Because I have absolutely no intention of ever moving in here again.
Shh! Mr. Wilbur! What a delightful surprise. Come right in. Victor, Dolly, look who is here. Mr. Wilbur.
I forgot one little thing, Doctor. It's about your program.
My program?
Yes. You see, Mother is very fond of military music, and she particularly likes one piece. All our guest conductors play it for her. The Stars and Stripes Forever. It's to help Anglo-American relations. It's by John Philip Sousa, the March King. And right there, Mother likes it if the piccolo players all stand up.
How charming.
My compliments to Mother, Mr. Wilbur. Tell her I will take her request under advisement and let her know in 5 or 10 years. In the meantime, if she must hear military band, she can join the army. I also have a piece of advice for Mother about piccolo players and what she can do.
Oh!
Good Lord, Mr. Wilbur, look what you've done. Victor, take Dolly upstairs. Come, Mr. Wilbur, I'll see you to your car.
I will take her upstairs and loosen her clothing.
I'm sorry, Dr. Fabian. I had no idea. Forgive me.
Stars and Stripes Forever, John Philip Sousa.
But he's the chairman of the board, and his mother makes up the deficit.
Piccolo players standing up.
Well, why not? That's how Toscanini did it, and you cheered.
I? Cheered another conductor? Are you sure?
Oh, Victor, you're impossible.
Oh, you're right, darling. You always were, you always will be. Go on, tell me off. It's part of the fun of having you back.
Back? Oh, no, Victor.
Don't worry, little pigeon. Am I the type of man to force his advances upon a defenseless woman?
Yes. Now, Victor, be serious. Listen to me.
All right, go on.
I hope you have a great success here. I know you will have. But it'll have to be without me. I'm sorry.
All right, darling. It was wonderful seeing you again, even for these few moments. But perhaps that's all fate will allow me. I have missed you. Will you have a drink with me?
All right, a small brandy. I am shaky. 5 minutes in the old homestead, I'm shouting, running, fainting. What kind of a small brandy is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's mine. To you, my darling, and your happiness.
Thank you. To your concerts and a great success.
Tell me, what is it like teaching?
I like it.
I envy you. The cloistered academic life, the unruffled calm, the profound peace, the vast serenity.
It's only a college, not a convent.
My darling, couldn't you for just a while stay here? We'd shoot off rockets, we'd have the Thames boiling with excitement, you and I, the way it used to be.
It's impossible. Won't you accept that? I'm not being coy or hard to get.
You have changed, darling. You're hard. Tell me, has someone hurt you?
You're soaring through outer space again, Victor.
Well, you know what the situation is here now. They want both of us. And I should imagine that even if you regarded it as a sacrifice to art and beauty.
I'd forgotten what a self-centered egomaniac you could be. You need a wife for 3 weeks, so you turn down the bed and you snap your fingers for good old Dolly. Take her out of the freezer, prop her up in the living room to impress the orchestra trustees. She's good in the part, and she's cheap, and she's handy. No, Doctor, art and beauty will have to manage without me. I've told you I've got other plans. I want a divorce.
Divorce, divorce, divorce. That's a foolish little whim, and I will not indulge you in it.
It is not a whim. I'm getting married. I mean, after the divorce, naturally.
You're what?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell you like this, but we started shouting.
Well, how's the lovebirds?
I'm fine, but I think his cage needs cleaning.
Max, get the solicitors on the phone. She wants a divorce. Fix it for her. Give her anything she wants. Just get it over with quickly.
No, Victor, Dolly, please.
Do as I tell you, Max. All right, Dolly, you're free. Go on, run to your lover. Tell him the good news.
Victor, wait. If she leaves, that ends the engagement here.
I will take Fargo, North Dakota.
Dolly, what is this all about? Solicitors and lovers? I'm surprised, Dolly.
Victor? Victor, I don't want to leave it like this. Victor, please. Victor? Please listen to me. Rationally, without melodrama or operatics. I've been living in a different world. It's only natural that I develop new interests and form new attachments. You know how it is.
Yes, I suppose so. It's human nature. I turn my back and naturally...
Turn your back? You put your foot through my harp and vanish for 18 months.
I won't reproach you, Dolly. How does Shakespeare say it? Judge not, lest ye be judged.
It's not Shakespeare. It's the Bible.
Please, let's not drag religion into this sordid story.
Victor, you're your old self, and that's the worst thing I've ever said about anybody.
Steady now. Let us discuss it, as you said, calmly and emotionally like rational people.
Not on the bed.
Who is the man?
He's a scientist. Very distinguished physicist. Richard Hilliard. Dr. Hilliard. Like you.
Like me. He sounds like quite a fellow. I'm very happy for you, Dolly. When is the wedding?
Well, I thought I'd discuss all that with you.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you, but I beg of you, don't stop to consider me at all. Your happiness is what counts. Go right ahead. Make your plans. Bless you.
Me too. But don't rush to the wedding. You're not divorced.
Max, I'd like to speak to Victor alone, if you don't mind.
Sure. Stay right here, Max. A man likes to have his friends around him when he contemplates the shattered pieces of his emotional life. A divorce. Of course, you realize, Dolly, that in order to get a divorce, we'd have to get married.
Ooh.
The trouble is, I don't think you'd make a good wife. You've developed a selfish streak. You're uncooperative, not loving or lovable.
Stop! What is this talk about getting married?
Blabbermouth.
No, I don't believe it. Dolly, my dearest Dolly, tell me it isn't true.
It is true.
Mind you, I wanted to marry her in spite of the gulf between us socially and artistically. But she wanted to be sure. And you were right, my darling. It didn't work out.
Max, please try to understand. In the beginning, when Victor was conducting in the cinema and I was the harpist, well, I know it was wrong and foolish, but I did want to make sure.
All right. The conductor and the harpist, people take that for granted. But afterwards, all these years...
Well, then Victor started getting engagements with symphony orchestras, and out of a clear sky, he was appointed musical director of the London Festival Orchestra.
The youngest permanent conductor of any major symphony in the world.
Victor, please, not now.
If you'd rather listen to her sleazy reminiscences.
All right. So he was conductor here. It's not a 24-hour job. You couldn't take a minute to get married?
We were afraid to risk it. Everybody thought we were married. Oh, I wish we had been.
All right, you're single. On a technicality, but you're single. Is your fiancé such a Boy Scout you couldn't tell him that you and Victor, well, had a flirtation?
It's not just what I tell him. When I go to get the marriage license, what do I tell them? That I've been single all these years? And if I say I was married and divorced, then I need the divorce papers.
Mm-hmm.
So you have got a problem.
Thanks. Max, do you understand? Do you see why I need a divorce?
Sure I see it. And you see it. And your fiancé probably sees it. But what about him?
My views on divorce are quite well known. I stand foursquare on the sanctity of the home.
I'll say one thing for you, Victor. Failure hasn't changed you. You're still awful.
Oh, you butterfingered balalaika player.
Ugh.
Say, the way you people talk to each other, you sure you're not married?
We were just good friends.
Dali, you want to get married. And you can't. Because to get married, you need a divorce. And you cannot get a divorce because you're not married. Right?
Right.
So you'll get married. Quietly, secretly. Such things can be arranged. And then an amiable divorce. Dali, Victor, what do you say?
Fine. That's just what I want.
Well, I don't know. Marriage is such a big step. Shouldn't we have a period of getting to know each other? Well, this time I'd like to be sure.
What do you have in mind, Maestro? A period of about 3 weeks?
That's right. That way we can look before we leap.
And what do I tell my fiancé? Just that I'm moving in here with you again.
Don't worry. We'll explain. I am a terrific liar.
You low, cunning blackmailer.
Now, Dolly, you'll never get yourself a husband if you don't learn to control that temper. My rehearsal. Max, quickly get my things together.
Will you please?
Dolly, isn't this a great moment? Remember the first time I rehearsed this orchestra? We sat up together all night while I studied my scores.
Victor, I love strolling down memory lane with you, but not now. What about my problem?
But wasn't it fun, and didn't you love it? You must have. How else could you have been so good at it? Even today, when the Stars and Stripes forever loomed up, you picked up your cue on sheer instinct. You loved hoodwinking Mr. Wilbur, just the way you used to do it to his father. And I'm counting on you to give Mother the same old razzle-dazzle. Oh, we're two of a kind, Dolly. The courts may dissolve a marriage between a man and a woman. But no power this side of the pearly gates can separate a conductor and a harpist. Now, no more distractions, please. I've only a few moments in which to compose myself for an important rehearsal. I need absolute concentration now. Max, my music, please. Dolly, my coat. Just over my shoulders, please.
No! There's your coat, you road company Svengali. Good Lord, I nearly stepped right back into that trap. Max, my music, Dolly, my coat, my rehearsal, my orchestra, my concert, my career. Well, take them, Maestro, they're all yours. You can count me out. If you can count, in any tempo, from Adagio con moto to Presto agitato.
A pity. I nearly had her there. All right, call that college and get hold of her fiancé. Get him up here.
Victor, it's not fair.
Luckily, I'm above such considerations. Go on, Max.
Victor, why?
We owe it to him. He ought to be here. His romance is on the rocks.
Elliot speaking. Who? I don't know any Maxwell Archer Incorporated. What about Mrs. Fabian? All right, put him on.
Special license and a quiet place in the country for the wedding.
But the risk if the newspapers get hold of it, Max. Don't worry. Nobody will recognize anybody. I swear to you. May I fall asleep in the first act of Lohengrin and wake up before the opera is finished if I'm not telling you the truth. I'm now going to meet Dali. Enjoy the rehearsal, Sherkalik. And if you have a chance, speak to Fabian about the Stars and Stripes Forever.
I mentioned it yesterday. He threw a trombone at me.
An old lady and so crazy about Susan Marches. She must be a retired drummer. Arrivederci, Bardini. Dali, my dearest Dali, come right in. I am just coming from the rehearsal. What a rehearsal. You should have seen Victor. Sweet and patient. He is a changed man.
Max, you should only have as much money as I'm not interested in Victor.
Dali, but he's changed. Yesterday at the rehearsal and today...
I am not moving in with Fabian again.
Listen, Bardini has a license. Also, a secret wedding is arranged. You're married, Victor makes a triumphant comeback, and just like that, you're in Acapulco, where my own cousin, Don Felipe Archer, the finest divorce lawyer south of the Rio Grande, meets you at the plane. Just say the word, and this afternoon you're a bride and practically divorced.
Max, that's glorious, but impossible. How can I tell my fiancé I'm moving in with Victor again for 3 weeks?
You sure he would mind?
Mr. Bardini to see you.
Max, 10 minutes after you left the rehearsal, Fabian tore the shirt right off a musician's back.
No!
No? Here, for your memory book. This came off the leader of the first violin section. He's also the orchestra representative on the board of trustees and vice president of the Musicians' Union.
Fabian is a changed man. He's worse.
Mrs. Fabian, we need you now. If I could count on you to talk to this musician.
Dali, yes.
Max, no.
Bardini, get back to the hall. Keep that fiddle player away from the union. I'll talk to him. What's his name?
Kendall, Yasha Kendall.
Kendall! Oh, good Lord. In our last engagement, Victor smashed his brother's violin and his brother.
I'll do what I can, Max, but I think you and the maestro better start packing.
The return of Victor Fabian, or the phantom conductor strikes again.
I am not giving in. I am not a Hollywood agent with antique furniture and a bedside manner. Dali, you must come with me to the auditorium. Don't say no. Stop and think. You got a problem too, and without Victor, you cannot solve it. I got a plan. My word of honor. May I never tell another lie again as long as I live if I'm not telling you the truth. What is it?
Mr. Van Cliven is calling from New York. He wants to know if you can manage him.
Don't bother me. Tell him to go to Sal Urich. I'm busy. Come on, Dali.
hear the last movement? Brilliant, wasn't it?
Victor, what have you done?
Well, I changed the tempo from allegro con brio.
Victor!
He doesn't recognize it since he took it off the violinist.
Oh, that. Well, don't act as if it were the twilight of the gods. So I abused the violinist. One small violinist. That's what they're for. Why do you think God made fiddle players?
He made this one a member of the board of directors.
It was a terrible rehearsal. Nearly as bad as yesterday's. It was smooth and jolly. They loved their conductor, but we were miles from a performance. And this fellow, he was the worst. He was smiling. How dare he enjoy himself in my orchestra? Well, I tore the smiles off all of them along with his shirt. You heard the end of the rehearsal. They were tense, frightened, sitting up straight in their chairs. But did you hear the sound? Did you hear how they played?
So instead of a baton, conduct with a flamethrower. Then you really get some music.
Ah, what's the difference? Dolly's back, and she'll take care of any problems with the men.
Dolly? Oh, no, none of that.
Oh, keep it. Don't you see it's a talisman for our wedding? Something old, something new, something borrowed.
I am not moving back into the fun house with you for 3 weeks. How can I? You know my circumstances.
Children, wait. Quiet, everybody. Dolly, what if you only stay until after Victor's first concert? 3 days. What do you say, Victor?
Anything, a minute, an hour, a day, a month, a year.
I'll take a minute. Max, do you mean that? You really let me go after the concert on Saturday night?
May I sit through an uncut performance of Parsifal without a bite to eat if I'm not telling you the truth? Absolutely. Sunday morning, you're back in college, married, and practically divorced.
3 nights. Victor, you realize that this marriage will be a name only.
I have my books and my music.
If this is one of your old tricks.
Oh, Dolly, don't spoil this moment with such a thought. Look at me. I swear to you before God, man, and my agent.
Oh, save it for the wedding. Oh, Victor, is it us getting married like real people?
Come, Dolly. La, 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 la.
Yeah.
B flat, Dolly, damn it, will you never learn?
Victor, is it really you?
It tickles.
Manning? Is Dr. Fabian here?
Not yet, sir, but he telephoned and he'll be here directly. He asked that you and Mr. Kendall wait for him.
Good, good. We'll wait, eh? Just a few minutes.
It is hardly necessary. I've written an account of the entire affair for the union and for the board of directors. However, if you're sure it will be only a few minutes.
What about a drink? Scotch, bourbon, liqueur, champagne, anything at all?
Do you have any lighter fluid?
Lighter fluid?
For my hand warmer.
Oh, I see.
No, no, please. Doesn't matter. Heifetz, Horowitz, Van Cliburn, Casals. And who is this? I can't make out the signature.
That's President Eisenhower.
Oh? Fine-looking man.
You know, that is Dr. Fabian and I met your brother in our last engagement.
Yes, I know. I saw the X-ray pictures.
Now to business. Victor, you take a walk. Dolly and I will deal with Yasha Kendall.
He's all yours. Bless you, wifey.
Ah, here is our young artist. Dolly, look. Here is Yasha Kendall.
How do you do?
Dr. Fabian is not here. I should go home. All day I was so nervous I didn't practice. And besides, I've written a report of the entire affair for the board and the union.
Now, Yasha, why do we need outsiders to mix into a simple artistic disagreement?
Dr. Fabian tore the shirt off my back while I had my coat on. And 2 weeks ago, he struck my brother Grisha on the head with his own violin, an Italian instrument made by Johann Battista Guadagnini in the city of Cremona in 1731.
Yes, yes, of course, you're right, my dear Kendall.
Max, be careful. Never grip an artist's hand in that rough, crude way. Do you want to do him an injury?
Thank you, Mrs. Fabian.
Yes, excuse me, stupid of me. Beautiful, so expressive.
You are very understanding, madame.
Chester, please come. I have some important telegrams to get away. Stay a moment with Mrs. Fabian, my boy.
It is late already.
Just a moment. Give your hand a chance to breathe.
Perhaps I should. This finger, my second finger, worries me. Oh, don't be alarmed. It's not physical. No, no. A healthy finger in every respect.
Ah, I'm glad.
But it is weak. It lacks drive or ambition. When I play or practice, the other fingers attack the strings with fire and spirit, while this finger sulks or cringes.
You poor boy. And you're so brave about it.
You are very kind, madame. In the orchestra, the other musicians think I'm too concerned with my fingers. They ridicule me.
The way the ignorant peasants ridicule Galileo.
Excuse me, I'm not familiar with Italian composers. A friend of mine, a psychiatrist, he says that my first finger is too dominant, and my second finger, from living right next door, has developed an inferiority complex.
That might be the trouble. I had a similar situation with one of my pupils, a talented young harpist, but her thumb developed Humperdinck syndrome, a psychosomatic rebellion against the authority of her hand. Oh, she recovered, but we had a mighty sick little thumb on our hands, I can tell you that.
Fascinating. I had no idea that you were a teacher or that you took an interest in these problems.
You think I'm part of this? No, I'm just a simple teacher in a small college. Why, I'll bet that you've been thinking I'm just out to win you over, to keep you from making trouble with the union or with the trustees.
No, not for a moment.
I want you to file your report. Victor Fabian must learn to pay the price for his tyranny.
And he attacked my brother.
Oh, well.
Of course, the way Grisha plays is often quite irritating.
You know, Victor and I have been separated. I came back because, well, I hoped that he'd changed. But in his attack on you, I can see it won't work out. I shall have to go away again. Goodbye, my dear new friend.
Oh, Mrs. Fabian, perhaps we are being too harsh. Perhaps we should give Dr. Fabian another chance, you and I together. Here.
Your reports? Oh, no.
I insist. After all, it was only the second rehearsal. And to tell you the truth, it was an old shirt.
Victor, just in time. Here is our dear young colleague, Yasha Kendall.
Victor, shake hands with Yasha. Eat carefully.
Dr. Fabian, Mrs. Fabian has made certain things clear to me, and I have decided to forget what happened this afternoon at the rehearsal.
Oh, well, I'm not one to hold a grudge. I'll forget it, too.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Good night. Thank you.
Good night, Yasha. Take care of your second finger. Perhaps a warmer climate.
Fantastic performance.
I'm ashamed of myself.
You're a genius, ashamed of yourself?
If only he hadn't been such a naive, sweet simpleton. I felt like a used car salesman selling an old wreck.
That's a hell of a way to talk about your husband. I know just how you feel, darling. And word of honor, I'll make it up to him. From now on, this is Be Kind to Fiddle Players Week. Thanks. First thing in the morning, buy Kendall some new shirts. 8 or 10 dozen of the best. And not just monogram, his full name and address. And get some for yourself.
A present for your agent? Am I in the right house?
You've had a long, exhausting day with my problems. Now, get some rest. Good night. Good night, my dear old friend.
You know something, Victor? You should get married every day. Good night, Dolly. Victor, my blessings.
So this is married life. No wonder it's so popular with the masses. It was a charming ceremony, didn't you think so? Of course, the little church organ was way out of tune, but I was so happy, I barely noticed.
Victor, it's only 9:30.
Oh, well, that fresh country air must have done it to me. Anyway, I have a surprise for you.
A surprise? Can I guess? Is it bigger than a bread box?
My wedding present.
Oh, you shouldn't have. I've got a harp already. Imagine having 2 harps. Oh, thank you, Victor. It's a lovely tone.
To us.
To us. Wherever we are.
Darling, wouldn't you like to slip into something loose?
Yes, a taxi.
Dolly.
Please try to remember one essential fact. I'm engaged to another man.
But you are married to me.
A marriage of convenience.
And we are living together.
You're living together, I'm not.
Well, that certainly is convenient. Oh, this icy calm isn't you, not the real you. It's ridiculous for you to treat me as an absolute stranger. My lord, I remember the mole on your...
Victor!
Well, can I help it if I remember it? There it was. The cutest little mole.
Stop it. Stop it or I'll walk out right now. I mean it. Anyway, I had it removed.
You had it removed? Our mole?
You won't achieve anything at all by trying to make me self-conscious. I agreed to stay here on certain conditions.
Oh, those.
There are separate bedrooms with locks, so there'll be no tippy-toeing about in the middle of the night. We have to share the same bath, but I expect you to behave like a gentleman.
I'll wear a bathing suit.
Your promises this afternoon. You didn't mean any of them, did you?
Well, of course. I just happened to have changed my mind, that's all. I'm big enough to admit that I see things differently tonight.
Oh, Victor. That was unfair.
Fair, unfair. You bring up piddling little words like that between us. How can you? In this room, flooded with 1,000 memories.
Don't you think that I remember? The trouble is I remember all of it. Your memories are of triumphant concerts, parties, making love.
Mine is a romantic nature. That's the way my mind works.
Yes, that I do remember. And in your generous, romantic way, you spread it around quite a bit.
Oh, do you think that child prodigy or whatever she was meant one single thing to me? No, I can't believe you think that. It would be so wrong and so foolish.
No, that precipitated matters, but she wasn't the reason.
What was? I loved you, Dolly.
Did you? Now think. There was one great love in your life, but it wasn't me or the child prodigy. The orchestra. Your orchestra and the sound it produced. Sound! Rich, round, glorious tone! The life and love of Victor Fabian! You turned to me when you were in trouble with the orchestra or the trustees. And the rest of the time, while you were triumphantly scaling the heights, I was respectfully 2 steps behind, struggling with the heavy luggage.
Not one word of that is true.
Oh, Victor, tonight, a few minutes ago. Surely you can remember that far back. Married an hour, and what was I doing? Placating a musician you manhandled. Tomorrow, bright and early, I tackle Mr. Wilbur and his mother about the stars and stripes forever. I'll do it somehow, instinct, or maybe I've developed conditioned reflexes like one of Dr. Pavlov's dogs. And yet you deny that you use me.
Use you?
Constantly, selfishly, shamelessly.
But, sweetheart, of course.
You admit it?
I insist on it. I would use my 83-year-old grandmother or yours if it would help me. Now think back a bit, my high-minded young harpist. Why did I use you? To get more money or for self-advertisement? I used you to build a great symphony orchestra, playing great music. That is not easy. It pays no cash dividends. It sells no product. It isn't like raising money for soap opera or adult westerns. So I used you. Why not? We built a fine orchestra out of an ancient, wheezing ruin. So I'm not a nice fellow. So I will not get the award this year in Brotherhood Week. I am a conductor, you short-sighted little weakling. My purpose is music. And to accomplish it, I'm willing to use people or abuse them, anything.
Including me, I suppose.
Especially you, I suppose.
Victor, stop, I'll scream.
Go on, scream.
In a minute.
Take your time whenever you're ready.
I can't seem to get my breath. It's palpitations.
It's a good thing I'm a doctor.
I knew this would happen if we got married. Victor, where are you taking me? Do you think we should? We've been married for such a short while.
It's all right, Dolly. We've been engaged for nearly 8 years.
Well, promise me you won't think less of me.
I promise.
Do you mean it?
With all my heart.
All right.
No, I'm sorry, but I think Dr. Fabian has retired. However, if you'd like to leave a message, Dr. Fabian.
Dr. Fabian, I came at once, as you suggested. What's wrong? Is Dolly all right?
Yes, naturally I was concerned about Dolly's fiancé, the kind of man she was going to marry. But just seeing you is more than enough assurance. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for coming.
Dr. Fabian, I've traveled all day to get here. I spoke to Maxwell Archer Incorporated. He insisted that I rush right up to London. I demand an explanation.
But there is nothing to explain, truly, Dr. Hilliard. Dolly is perfectly all right. She'll be delighted you're here. I can't wait to tell her. Come, Doctor, let me run you over with my car. To the hotel.
Dr. Fabian, I am not satisfied with your explanation. Something is wrong here. I can sense it.
But not at all. Dolly left only a few minutes ago. She must have gone out the back way. Amazing, isn't it? One of life's little coincidences. You came in the front just as Dolly was going out the back way.
Certainly very sorry I missed her. I'm most concerned about her.
Oh, well now, why not telephone Dolly from here? She must be at Claridge's by now. Come, Doctor, use my personal phone. It's here in the upstairs music room. Ah, there we are, Claridge's. Would you connect me with Mrs. Victor Fabian?
Dr. Fabian, this is ridiculous. I've had enough. Dolly!
Richard, what on earth are you doing here?
Well, he sent for me and then said you just left, gone out the back way.
Well, I had to come back because it was locked and I had no idea you were here.
No, naturally not.
Richard, let's get away from this house and everything in it.
Yes, everything, including his coat.
Oh.
Dolly, give him back his coat.
Oh, Richard.
None sold, man. It was a gift.
Richard, I don't want your coat. You'll catch a cold.
I don't want you wearing anything belonging to him. Come along, Dolly. I'll take you home. Give him back his coat, Dolly. Dolly!
You and your senseless badgering.
Dolly!
Oh! Oh! Thank heavens, I really am fainting.
Oh, Doctor, how is Mrs. Fabian?
Fine.
Fine? Are you sure?
Quite sure. She's had rather a nasty bump on the head, but she can be up and about by noontime.
As soon as that, huh? Well, good, splendid, well done. Dolly, dear, it's me. It's I.
Both of you can drop dead. Out, you sadistic werewolf!
Now, Dolly, listen to me.
Out, I say. Remember, I bowled at cricket in my school days.
Now, try to understand. I know what I did was despicable.
I do understand, Victor, and I do despise you.
You're convicting me without giving me a fair trial. Dolly, please. Ah, good morning, Dr. Hilliard. Top of the morning to you, sir.
I have nothing to say to you, Dr. Fabian. I would like to speak to Dolly, if I may.
Oh, sure. Go right in. She's expecting you. Don't bother to knock. Ow!
Ooh! Sorry. Truly terribly sorry, but it shows you how I feel about Victor Fabian.
You mean by throwing a jar of cold cream at me?
Well, I thought it was him. I mean, he. Which is it, by the way?
Him.
Would you like a drink?
No. No, thank you.
I don't really care for it. But the doctor told me to force myself.
I understand about last night. At least I think I do. I trust you, Dolly. My faith in you is like my faith in our new computer or the quantum theorem. What I don't understand is why you have to go on staying here until the weekend.
Because if I don't, that demented schemer next door will do everything possible to block the divorce. But if I keep my end of the bargain and stay until the concert Saturday, he won't dare try any of his shady tricks.
But that means spending 2 more nights under this roof with him.
You trust me, don't you, Richard?
I don't trust him.
Neither do I.
Dolly!
And I'm pretty fast on the draw from watching westerns on TV.
You mean you'd shoot him?
Now, do you trust me?
I do.
Victor? Well, how did you make out? He didn't do so good, I guess.
The poor man. What a lonely life he has.
Who is conducting the orchestra?
Chester.
Chester?
Chester.
What's the matter? You're sick?
I'm dying.
What is it? The day after tomorrow is the concert. The most important event of your entire career, and you letting Chester conduct the rehearsal? Victor, say something. Victor, speak to me.
It's Dolly. She thinks we brought her fiancé Hilliard up here deliberately to spoil her romance.
We did. Good Lord. He showed up last night. And you and Dolly were reconciled? Good Lord.
Just my luck. My wedding night, and who crashes in? My wife's fiancé.
Dr. Fabian, would you like to take over now? We are going to do Romeo and Juliet.
No, my boy. Dr. Fabian is not in the mood.
Call me when you're ready for the damnation of Faust.
Good riddance. Way down on the Swanee River far. Hello, Max. Pull up a stool and we'll play 3 hands.
So it's finished. A great career, 2 lives, a human heart all wrapped up and packed away in a barrel.
If you're referring to the human heart of Victor Fabian, you can pack that in an egg cup.
Dolly.
Dolly me no dollies. Where was his human heart when he sent for Richard? Sent for him, do you hear? Just the memory's enough to drive me to drink.
So he did it. He knows it was wrong and he's sorry. It shows how much he loves you. He needs you, Dolly.
Victor needs Victor. And they deserve each other.
Since it happened, he's been like a madman.
He was born that way. We made a bargain, Max, and I, for one, am keeping it. Now, I want you to call your cousin, the Mexican lawyer, Pancho Archer.
Don Felipe.
Well, tell him I'm leaving tonight.
Tonight? So soon?
After the concert. Now, go on. Call Don Jose.
Don Felipe. Is there a plane that late?
Midnight to New York, change planes for Dallas, Texas, wait there a day, then non-stop to Acapulco.
Texas? You wait all day in Texas? You wanted the wars that much.
Good evening, Mr. Fabian. My!
Oh, do you like it? It was a butterick pattern. 8 shillings and 6pence to make, including depreciation and overhead. And just you wait till you get the bill. Ooh, brandy. Ooh. Ah, never mind about the glass, Chester. Oh, that idiot designer. I told him I wanted hip pockets in this dress. Here, you keep it. But mind you, stay close to me.
My pleasure, Mrs. Fabian.
Mrs. Fabian, Mrs. Fabian, Mrs. Fabian. Ugh. That name! Oh, Chester, I wish you could have known me as a young girl. You would have liked me. And then came Victor Fabian, came to tune my harp and stay to fix my wagon. Dr. Fabian, typhoid carrier. Ooh, look at that. 3 complete changes from the skin out, just to conduct one little concert. You know why, don't you? He sweats.
Mrs. Fabian, would you like a little more brandy?
Oh, no, that's the coward's way out. Which reminds me, where is Count Dracula?
Upstairs, doing a television interview. We have a set inside.
No, thank you. I think I'll stick to old movies. How'd you like working for the monster? I mean the maestro.
Well, he takes a lot of looking after, doesn't he?
Oh, no more than the average-size aircraft carrier. Are you married?
Engaged. A girl I met last season at the Royal College of Music. She's studying the harp.
The harp! And you're going to be a conductor. Oh, Chester, be kind to her. Don't crush her fragile, tender spirit. And when you're a famous conductor, think of me now and again. And then for my sake, smile at her and say something kind. And don't wait 8 years before you marry her.
Mrs. Fabian, would you like to lie down? Stretch out quietly for a few minutes?
None of your conductor tricks now, Chester.
Ah, Daddy, here you are. Come on. Right now, Fabian is being interviewed. I only hope he's careful. Nowadays on television, the questions they ask. Once I went on such a program. A nice young fella says good evening, and in the same breath, he wants to know, am I faithful to my wife? Did I ever manage a communist? Who is running around with the prima ballerina of my ballet company? Go and tell him it was me.
No wonder they say this is bad for children.
Welcome to another session in the Star Chamber, friends. In the spotlight tonight is Dr. Victor Fabian, the eminent conductor, whose stormy career in music has made him a legend.
Yes, a legend, like is Hitler still alive?
Dr. Fabian, a musician in your orchestra has said, and I quote, "Playing for Dr. Fabian is like living at the base of a volcano." Would you care to comment on that?
An exaggerated view, in my opinion.
Ooh.
There are times, of course, when any conductor must be firm with his musicians, as a father must discipline his children. However, it is an act of love.
Oh, I hope Yasha Kendall and his brother are listening.
The London Festival Orchestra is often referred to as your creation, Dr. Fabian. Would you care to comment on that?
I would.
If it is, I hope I am worthy of it.
Oh, that's sweet!
To me, this is not merely an auditorium. It is a shrine. And on the stage below that is not just my music stand.
It is an altar.
It is an altar. When I take my place there before the orchestra, I am not the conductor. Only a guide, leading musicians and listeners on our humble pilgrimage to the great golden world of music.
I demand equal time to answer that.
In the past, as I recall, you had artistic differences with the orchestra trustees, Dr. Fabian.
That part I know already. But you see, Dolly, how sweet and reasonable Victor has become. A saint.
Mr. Archer? Overseas operator has a call for you. We've had it put through to the office.
Yes, right away. Thank you. That's my call from my cousin in Acapulco. Well, Dolly?
Tell him I'm on my way.
Are you positive, Dolly? All right. Don't forget, in Mexico, you've got to boil all your drinking water.
And after tonight's concert, Dr. Fabian, may I inquire what your plans are for the future?
You may. I'm abandoning the concert field. Yes, that aspect of my life is ended. I intend to establish a music school and declamation center for youth in the Belgian Congo.
Oh, it's perfect, you witch doctor.
In the darkest jungle, dedicated only to service, I hope to find redemption for the wrongs I have done to a woman who deserves to stand beside the great heroines of history. My wife.
Oh!
Yes, my wife. Not only a sensitive and gifted harpist, but a woman of rare intellectual spirit.
Stop it!
Hello, Dolly. You've been watching television?
Yes. Richard, would you like a drink?
No, thanks. Dolly, I've been doing a lot of thinking these past few days.
Something nuclear?
No. Are you in love with Victor Fabian?
No, I'm not in love with Victor Fabian. Victor Fabian is a dangerous lunatic, and I wouldn't go near him unless he was stuffed and mounted on a wall.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm leaving for Mexico tonight to divorce him. I mean, that's how sure I am.
Dolly!
I'm staying in Mexico, Richard.
Good, I'll join you there.
No, Richard.
But it works out perfectly. The University of Mexico is after me to lecture on heat particles.
No, Richard.
Well, it doesn't have to be heat particles. I'll do expanding gases.
I can't marry you.
But if you're divorcing him...
Don't ask me to explain. I can't not now. I'm going to live alone, in a cave or up in a tree. Oh, Richard, I've been wicked and unfair to you. And that I do regret very much.
All right, Dolly. I studied piano once. I'm sorry now I didn't practice.
Only 3 days with a symphony orchestra, and look how he's aged.
Max tells me you're going to Mexico tonight. Why?
Why does anyone go to Mexico for guitar lessons?
Victor, look at the time. The concert, you're not dressed.
Dolly, I swear to you, when Hilliard turned up the other night, I'd completely forgotten.
Stop it. If you say another word about that or about anything, I'll scream.
I did send for him, I admit it, and I know it was...
Good Lord! Stop it, Dolly. You'll bring fire engines.
A sample of the work that can be done on this machine. I am very nearly at the breaking point, and I promise you, if I break, this will be a concert to remember.
Victor, please hurry up. Don't worry about Dolly. I'll entertain her. Eh, Dolly?
Go on, Max. Entertain me.
I called my cousin, Don Felipe. Everything is arranged.
Ah, well, now I like the sound of that.
Yeah, but first, you must discuss with Victor the property settlement and alimony.
Alimony? You mean take money from him?
If not, how are you going to live?
Oh, I'll take in washing. Oh, Lord, what hideous knees.
Awful, aren't they? Max, remind me, first thing Monday morning to have them broken and reset. Now, Dolly, remember one thing. Whatever I've done, however it turned out, I did it for us. Max, give her something.
You want something, Dolly?
Yes, his head on a platter.
What he says is true. When you told him that you want a divorce, that there is another man, how he suffered.
Oh.
I guarantee you that if he had any hair on his head, it would have turned white from the shock.
Dolly, for luck, the way you used to be for a concert.
Come here. Come here. I wish I could tie a hangman's knot. Keep your Adam's apple from bobbing up and down.
It's trying to tell you something.
Oh, shut up.
Take me to your leader.
There.
Thank you, Dolly. Did Max tell you the good news? I've accepted an offer to do the Beethoven Nines with the a cappella chorus and orchestra of Acapulco, Mexico.
No.
Well, Whither thou goest, I goest. Thy people shall be my people.
It's a lie. You made it up. There is no Acapulco chorus in Acapulco, Mexico. There can't be.
There will be.
Mr. Wilbur, come right in, Mr. Wilbur.
Good evening. What a pretty dress. Mother certainly enjoyed your visit, Mrs. Fabian. She asked me particularly to tell you how much she enjoyed it.
You visited Mrs. Wilbur, Dolly?
Well, I was just passing by.
What is this document, Mr. Wilbur?
Oh, hasn't Mrs. Fabian told you? It's the contract for this engagement and the next 3 years. You see, Mrs. Fabian had a nice talk with Mother. Then Mother and I had a nice talk. Then I called the trustees.
Now, Mr. Wilbur, does Mother know that Mrs. Fabian is leaving for Mexico tonight to divorce me? Isn't that right, darling? So Mother ought to know that all she's getting for 3 years is my lovable self.
That's different, isn't it? Mother doesn't like to buy a pig in a poke, but I'll tell her.
Victor Fabian, you are the most treacherous, underhanded man I've ever known in my life. You've put in a lifetime of lying, swindling, and assorted double-dealing. And now you're bristling with moral fiber only to irritate me. Well, that's not your contract. It's mine. I drank tea until it ran out of my pores. I sang your praises until I got polyps on my vocal cords. Well, hear this. You are not turning decent at my expense. You're going to sign this contract, and I'm staying right here to see that you work out every clause.
Mr. Wilbur, use my pen, Mr. Wilbur. It's a gift from the late Tsar. Same pen he used to free all the serfs.
A ballpoint?
Mr. Wilbur, what is that you're whistling?
Whistling? Was I whistling?
William Tell Overture.
We understand each other about the Stars and Stripes Forever, don't we, Mr. Wilbur?
Oh, certainly.
Good.
Mrs. Fabian explained it all to Mother, and Mother was the first to admit she was in the wrong. That's Mother. After all, for this concert, your program had been all arranged.
What do you mean, this concert?
Why, you're playing it next week, of course.
Oh, am I? Mrs. Fabian explained all that, did she? You two-bit Machiavelli, how dare you?
Oh, forgive me. I loved you so much, I'd completely forgotten what an unreasonable lunatic you could be. Oh, Victor, don't you realize what this means? Not for Mr. Wilbur or his mother. For me. Call it a wedding present, anything.
No, Dolly.
Victor, such a little march. You don't even have to rehearse it. The orchestra knows it by heart.
I would very much like to please Mother, Mr. Wilbur.
I tell her. But Mother believes in deeds, not words. Mother has a head on her shoulders.
Absolutely. I've seen it.
Mother can have the Stars and Stripes Forever, Mr. Wilbur. I'll stand under her window and sing it every night, come rain or come shine. Mother can have anything. All I ask is these 2 hours a week, Saturday night from 8:30 to 10:30 for my concert. And if you give me just that much, for the remaining 166 hours a week, I'll belong to Mother, body and soul. She can tell me what to eat, what to wear, what to think, how to vote. Tell Mother that. And tell her I mean it with all my heart. But tell you, dear, saintly, white-haired Mother, this. That if she dares to lay a finger on my music, I'll kick her teeth in. Max, is that clear?
Certainly, Doctor.
Darling.
Yes, Victor.
So now we understand each other.
They're ready for you now, Dr. Fabian.
Coming. Here, sign. Darling, my coat.
Yes, Doctor.
Mother's wearing her hearing aid.